For about the last 30 years, every election cycle in America has supposedly been the most important election of our lifetime. At this point, my lifetime sounds less like a democracy and more like a Discovery Channel documentary narrated by a guy whispering, "Here we see the American voter, stressed beyond all known biological limits." Because every 4 years we hear, if these people win, democracy dies. If those people win, civilization collapses. And everybody nods like this is a healthy way to run a country. At some point you stop asking, why is there a fire, and start asking, why does the fire alarm company own a flamethrower? Now, look, I understand the argument that people make. We're in a crisis mode. We can fix the deeper problems later. And that sounds reasonable. If your kitchen is on fire, you don't pause to redesign cabinets, you put the fire out. But what happens when the people running the system realize that terrified voters are easier to control than thoughtful voters? Because eventually, temporary emergency becomes permanent culture. And that's where I think we are now, which reminds me of the dumbest useful metaphor I've ever heard. Imagine you're Indiana Jones, running from the giant boulder. Ahead of you are 2 holes in the ground. If you jump into either one, you survive. But both holes are filled with the most horrifying, foul-smelling sludge. One hole is halfway full. The other one is filled all the way to the top. Naturally, you jump into the halfway full hole. That's rational. You chose the best option available. But then the weird part happens after the boulder rolls away. Everybody suddenly stops asking, why are there 2 filth holes in a temple? Instead, people start building entire identities around defending the hole that they chose. Well, my hole only goes up to the armpits. Yeah, well, your hole smells worse. Welcome to modern American politics. And to be clear, this doesn't mean both parties are exactly the same. They're not. Elections matter, policies matter. But if one party is always the only safe option, then when does anybody have to actually become the best option? Because fear changes incentives. If voters continually say, you don't have to solve structural problems as long as you keep me afraid of the alternative, then structurally, why would the system ever stop manufacturing emergencies? And honestly, I think that most Americans are trying to do the right thing. They're exhausted, not stupid. But exhaustion has consequences. We've turned citizenship into a permanent adrenaline response. Everybody's angry. Everybody's anxious. Everybody is doom scrolling at 1:30 in the morning like they're monitoring Soviet missile launches during the Cold War. And eventually you have to ask, are we actually governing anymore? Or are we just emotionally surviving election cycles? Because the "it's only up to here" narrative is not the same as being healthy. It's just learning to tolerate the sludge.